news to report. I've just been informed, CNN reporting based on the Kyoto News Agency, that 2,000 bodies have been discovered in Miyagi Prefecture, which is the area all around Sendai. 2,000 bodies on Monday. Obviously, the official death toll, which was 1,600 as of a few hours ago, has not been officially raised yet. The 2,000 bodies found in Miyagi. This is the same prefecture where a police official was quoted by NHK yesterday as saying that the death toll could rise into the tens of thousands. So as of Monday, they found 2,000 bodies in this prefecture, and the day is not even half over. Obviously, a very disturbing announcement that has just been made, and probably the first of many like it in the days ahead. Paula Hancock has been here. She got into Sendai, I believe, about 24 hours after the earthquake and tsunami hit. She joins us now on the phone. Paul, in terms of the, I mean, you've been now on the ground for 2 days. In terms of the recovery effort, the rescue effort, how ramped up is it now compared to what it was even yesterday?
Well, Anderson, we're certainly seeing more military trucks on the roads, and you'd assume that they're carrying aid. We're seeing more helicopters in the air. But when we were
actually, unless you can drop 15 pounds in the next 8 minutes.
A small fishing town of 18,000, which has just been completely wiped out. There are fears that thousands have died there. There weren't a huge amount of rescue teams. There were some. They were picking through the rubble, and obviously there have rescue teams in every single small town along this coast. It's an immense area to cover, but there didn't seem to be a huge amount. And the problem they're finding at the moment, which we've just found as well, is there are constant tsunami alerts. So every time there is an aftershock, there is often a tsunami alert after it. And yesterday, when we were in that region, all of the rescue teams, the police had to desert their vehicles, the JCBs, they had to run to higher ground. And every single alert, they did run to higher ground. There was sheer panic in their eyes when they heard that alert. Obviously, looking around them, they could see the devastation from the last tsunami that hit there. And so that just makes the recovery process so slow. At this point, they're saying it is still a search and rescue operation in that area, but they must know that window of opportunity is closing very quickly. Anderson.
And how hard is it for rescue crews just to get around? I mean, just to make it to some of these small villages?
Well, the coastal roads in some parts are pretty much inaccessible. So what we had to do, and what they're probably having to do if they're going by road, is to move inland, go north, and then go out to the coast again. Within that fishing village itself, miraculously, the main road through the town was almost intact. You could pretty much get through, and they'd cleared that, obviously, the first day to try and get to the people who needed it. But this is a town that was about 3.3 kilometers from the coast inland. We walked that entire road, and all around us was devastation, and there must have been many bodies within that devastation. It will be a huge task to try and find and account for everybody. And of course, they basically said to us at this point it is a search and rescue operation. They're looking for any signs of life, and so the bodies they found at this point will just have to be left there until they can rule out the possibility that anyone else could still be alive there.
Is it clear at this point how much warning people had about the tsunami on Friday?
Well, I was talking to quite a few residents within this one town, because many of them had actually come back to see what was left of their house, which in the vast majority of cases was nothing. One of the local government workers who was working in an office on the seafront said that as soon as the earthquake sound, with the tremors were felt and everyone fell to the ground, then the tsunami alert started very shortly afterwards. He said it was about half an hour, maybe 25 minutes between the earthquake and the tsunami. Now, between you and me, that sounds like an awfully long time, but when you are absolutely panicking and you have to run an awful long way inland, 3.2 kilometers or 2 miles of water reached and devastated, then it isn't that much time. He was saying that many people had to leave elderly relatives or disabled relatives that couldn't move, onto the second floor in the hope that they would be safe. But looking around that town, it's clear that the second floor just wasn't high enough.
I saw one video on Japanese television. I'm not sure if we have it yet. of a tsunami, of the waves coming through a town, and a woman trying to get into her vehicle, and people were yelling at her, screaming at her, warning her what was coming. She knew something was coming. She didn't know how close it was, and the camera panned off at the last second, so you don't know what actually happened to her. But I mean, again, we're just getting these new images throughout the day of just the power of that water, and I know we've seen them all, but every time it just stops me in my tracks seeing it. Paul, I appreciate the reporting. We'll continue to check in with you as our coverage continues. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You know, I've been looking at the numbers, and I think our campus is spending too much money on printing. I'd like to put you in charge of cutting costs. Calm down. I know that it is not your job. What I'm saying... Excuse me? All right, fine. No, you don't have to do it, okay?
Notre Dame knows it's better for Xerox to control their printing costs, so they can focus on winning on and off the field.
Are you sure?
A song by Paul Beckman, public song. Created March 13th, 2011, using the guitar chords. A minor and F. This song is going to be called The Elderly Were Left on the Second Floor of Most Places. But even that wasn't good enough. Well, the elderly were left on the second floor of most places. That was considered to be the higher ground for them. But if their place was located near the epicenter, or some miles distant from them, well, they were no match for the waves that came. Supposed 30-foot wall, solid water, took them by surprise. With open eyes, carried them away with house and all. Completely removed every house in its path from its foundation, carrying trucks, cars, bicycles, and everything you can think of, including the kitchen sink, refrigerators, stoves, idling, even whole houses in its trail, depositing everything it took in its path with such a nature wrath, wherever it would deposit them, somewhere inland. The elderly did not survive. Many of the elderly did not survive. Salutations to many seniors who lost their lives in Japan. That fateful day, that fateful day, that fateful day.